Welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. I'm your host, theciaellis. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we explore growing old in an ever changing world. One of the good things about growing old is people judge you less whenever you sometimes say outrageous things. I'm getting older, and I've had a fascinating life. I also have opinions. You may not agree with those opinions, and I may not care. Even now, I am passionate about many things. I love to learn. I love quotes. I love my animals on the farm, and I care about my country. Join me as we explore loving life, even as we age. Today is July 21, 2024. This is episode 61, and it's called Wow, Great Choice. First of all, we're going to do some farm happenings. Oh my gosh. Last week, a couple weeks ago, I suppose, it was the week of pigs. First of all, on Monday, I believe of July 8th, uh, Tom and I loaded up Yoda. My It's a piglet that was born a little over a year ago. That was born a runt. You could tell something was wrong with him. His ears weren't quite right. We're pretty sure he may even be deaf or close to it or something. He was just always in his own little world and stuff, but he never really grew. He was about half the size of his sisters that we had kept, and just very vocal. You know, you would think that whenever we were coming out with dinner, that he hadn't eaten in a week, and he had a very high squealy voice. But then over time, he started developing some stiffness in his joints, particularly in his back legs again, just like his father. And what I find interesting about that is when his dad, whom we ended up having to get processed last year, was had his hind legs had gotten so bad he couldn't even get up. He wasn't getting up at all, and it was a fiasco trying to get him loaded up into the trailer to take him to the processor. And Yoda was well on the way to that too. So, but when Oscar Mayer was doing that, we thought maybe he had just hurt his back while he was mating the pigs, and it made sense because that's when he first started acting bad. Is right after the girls were bred. So so with Yoda developing that too, now it makes me wonder if it is a genetic issue. I don't know. It's hard to say. The only thing is I do know is that Yoda was not happy. He was struggling. You could tell he was in pain. He was very stiff. Every time at mealtime, he's still squealing for his food, but he had to be assisted to be able to stand up so that he could go and eat. So we took him to the processor on Monday. Yoda was kind of special to me because he was so different. I would watch him and watch the differences between him and all of his siblings. So, and plus he was cute. So it was a little bit difficult to take him to the processor, but it was the best thing to do or the right thing to do, most likely. Then on Friday, this one's a difficult one for me. Goldie Hawn, and for some stupid reason, I kept calling her Crystal. I had her mixed up with her sister. The Goldie Hawn had 11 piglets way back in April, and they were thriving. And I was really having to keep the food in Goldie Hawn so that she could to feed all these piglets, and so and they were not registerable. This is an Idaho pasture pig I have bought. The pigs I have bought were registered, and even Goldie Hawn herself could be registered, but her piglets could not because she was bred by her brother while I was down with my foot all those months, and so you can't register them, and you just don't know what you're getting either. So I made the tough decision to take them to an auction, and I knew it wasn't going to be great. I knew that they don't treat the animals like I would prefer to be treated, but I was not prepared to watch that treatment with my own animals, and it was a very difficult, rough day. And I, in my heart, feel like I just killed any trust that those pigs and that Goldie Hawn the sow and her piglets ever had in me. And I will probably take that to my grave. That was pretty rough. So one way or another, I'm never doing that again. And if you want to watch any of that, I've got two different videos like Yoda leaves the farm and I'm never going to do that again. It are two different videos on my YouTube channel, Grandma's Homestead. So that's part with that. I've been running the incubator pretty consistently all summer. I was hoping to have enough birds and incubate. I wanted to beef up my flock, both ducks and laying birds. So, and then start selling off some of the, taking chicks to sell at little places. But my incubator apparently is not up to the task. I've been having very low hatch rates. I've been putting 30, 32 eggs in at a time and having maybe 12 hatch. And then between snakes and other things, let's see, the pullets, I'm down to 6 pullets that I just put in with the adult birds. The newest chicks, they're down to 6, and so, and they're just as cute as they could be. I think I had 8. I think I had put 9 in the chicken tractor, but I'm pretty sure Snake got 3 of them. So that's what the kind of an issue with that. So, oh, and my ducklings, I had a really low hatch rate of the duckling. I only had three ducks hatch, and then I'm pretty sure Snake got 2 of them. So now I have 1 duckling, and she's getting older. She's getting old enough to know now that by her quack that she is a female, and I've got her in with a batch of meat birds, the Cornish cross, and that's kind of an interesting thing, but it's working. It's working out so far, so I'm okay with that. Tomatoes have been coming on. Tom is now the gardener, and I'm very grateful because I just don't need one more thing to do, except he brings them in to me and I try to get them canned up. But he's been real good. He's been helping me can them too. So we juiced and canned. I think I juiced and canned over 3 quarts of tomato juice one week, and then the next week I did about 3. It's about 3 worth about 3 quarts, but it actually, I did it in pints that time, so we had 6 pints of tomato juice, and then I've done, I believe, 6 pints of diced tomatoes. So that's looking pretty good. I've had some cucumbers going. A neighbor has a huge garden, and he's given me a whole bunch. He gives me all of his overgrown cucumbers to feed to my pigs and my chickens, and they're very happy about that. And the ones that are good, I've been using them. And I've got a quart and a pint of fermented garlic pepper pickles, sliced pickles going, and they taste pretty good. I think they might need another day or two to be finished, especially in the pint one. I'll have to check on the. I'll just have to check them, but they are mainly just garlic and pepper, and I think there's some mustard seed in it too. I don't remember. And then the rest of the cucumbers that my neighbor gave me, I made a batch of dill relish and got that canned up. I mean, my foot is finally feeling better. I haven't put it to the full 100% test yet, but I'm back in the gym, and at least I'm being a little bit more active. I'm not scared to death of stepping on a hole on the farm, because we got a lot of holes, and I did a lot of stepping in holes and would set myself back a few days every time. So, but I'm gaining confidence. I'm not limping anymore at all. And the only time I limp is when I first get out of the car. I guess the way you have your feet resting, it kind of gets stiff in that position. But golly, that's been doing that for 20 years. So, okay, I can live with that. But other than that, I'm not limping. The swelling's not completely down yet. I can live with that. I'm working on it. I found a new massage chair at the gym that has worked wonders for it. It scared the crap out of me at first time, because it really grabs you around your feet and ankles and your hands and calves and squishes crap out of you. And it hurt the first time it squished that ankle, but I could tell it wasn't a bad hurt. I could tell that it was a good for me hurt. And every time after I've used that massage chair and it squishes my ankle, it's hurt less and less. And I've been walking better. And I even did kind of a jig thing at church today to show people how much better I was getting, which is kind of dumb because I go to a Baptist church and Baptists don't jig, but I do it anyway, and they put up with me. So going back to the gym, not as often as I want to, because I did have that week I was dealing with pigs and stuff. But I showed up to the gym last Friday, and I love these ladies in this class. Love these ladies. And first they said, did you bring your swimsuit? Did you get my text? I'm going, what? No. And they said, "Oh no, just come as you are then. And we're having a pool party over such and such's house." So we went over to her, and I went. I went in my gym clothes, and we sat by the pool, had a wonderful time. There was about 6 of us all just kind of sitting around the pool, and the lady whose house it was, she fed us a nice little lunch. It was a good first lunch. And so I ate salad and fruit. If you know me, I'm a meatitarian, but I tell you what, I loved those ladies. I ate the salad and fruit. And then I went to Quick Trip and had a hot dog. And you wonder why I can't lose weight. No, I don't know. But it was fun. I had a great time. I don't dally much. I have a mission. I am on a mission to build my audience, to build my YouTube channel, to get the word out about my podcast and get the word out about Kenzie's softball playing, and see if I can get her into college with it. So I am on a mission to do things. But every once in a while, I need to have a little bit of time with some of my friends. And these are the best friends in the whole world to do that with. And I love it. Yesterday morning, I got up and, oh, I don't know if I even told you, I've got a new puppy. I think I told you about it on my last podcast. Her name is Elsie, cute as a button. Oh my gosh. And she's a good puppy too. And so I went out to, was going to do chores, and Elsie was there and Candy was there, but I can't find Beethoven. He was completely disappeared. Tom and I drove up and down the road. We drove around to the backside of our property into another neighborhood behind us, and we were looking for Beethoven back there. And Beethoven's big. He is a livestock guardian dog, but he looks like a Saint Bernard. I don't think he's not quite as big as a Saint Bernard, but he is a very large dog, and he's slow and cumbersome and lazy in the summertime. It doesn't go very far. So we were looking around in the neighborhood looking for Beethoven, and couldn't find him. We did find a family of deer. It's kind of interesting because there was a doe there, and you could tell she was an older doe. And then Tom had noticed that that doe had a collar on her, and we recognized that that was a doe that he had put the collar on her at one point or another, because I can't remember. I guess she was some sort of breeding program or something. He wasn't supposed to have her, but so she's got like a notch in her ear where they had marked her, and then they put a collar on her, and she had a name. I can't remember what her name is, uh, to state that this was a special doe that wandered the neighborhood. She'll play with your neighbor. She'll come play with your dogs and stuff. So we saw her. We were well, at first we were wondering why there was a whole family of deer over there. There was that doe. There was like 2 more does. There were 2 bucks that were in velvet, and 2 fawns, and they just sat there and looked at us. Well, the fawns jumped up and ran into the high weeds, and then when they realized that nobody else was running, they kind of meandered back. But then that's when we saw the doe with the collar and realized that that was all part of her family. They weren't going to go anywhere, so that was pretty cool. And then that yesterday evening, Tom and I were coming in from getting some dinner, and there were 2 more doe in our yard, probably not 20 yards from Mackenzie's window, and she just happened to be home. So we went in and we were able to even get into the house, and we went back to her bedroom and was watching these deer out the window. So it was nice to see the deer, and they didn't run off or were scared of us or anything either. Yesterday afternoon, I'm wandering around the house doing chores, doing things, and I happened to be pulling some laundry out of the dryer, and I heard the familiar scrape, scrape, scrape of Beethoven busting in the front door. I used to have a really bad problem with arthritis, and I still have some. So I like those handles that are, I don't know, they're not really a bar, but they're not round anyway. Okay, it's kind of a wavy bar, and I keep them. And even if you don't have arthritis, they're like wonderful. If your hands are full of groceries and you need to open the front door, you just use your elbow. But that means that Beethoven has learned how to open the front door. So after being gone from, I know, like I said, he was missing that morning, that about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he came in, and he's home. So I'm glad he's home. You always wonder when an animal disappears. You hope they're okay. You go looking for them. You pray about it. You steel yourself to think maybe they're never coming back. And when they come back, it's awfully nice. That's all I got for farm happenings. What I'm listening to, I'm still on my second listening of God Emperor of Dune. This was written by Frank Herbert in 1981. It's been kind of interesting, especially when you get a really well any book. I've listened to both any of them twice, unless they're just not worth listening to. But God Emperor of Dune, I'm on the second listen of it, and I'm also on the second listen of the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And it was written in 2017. So what I do one day when I'm doing chores, I listen to a novel, and that is The God Emperor of Dune is what I'm working on now. And then, or on another day doing chores, I listen to a good for me book, and that one right now is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. What I'm actually reading in the house. I'm still working on the Grow System by Marjorie Wildcraft. I only read about 15 minutes of it a couple times a week, so I'm slowly wading my way through it. And the same thing is with Johnny Erickson Tada's When Is It Right to Die? She wrote it in 1992. I'm using that one as a research for under the podcast. I want to do another day, and it's been an interesting read, and it's taken me a little bit to get through it. Neither one of those books are very long. It just takes me time to get through it. And with Johnny Erickson Tada's book, I'm actually taking notes and doing stuff like that. But I just last night I finished my novel of Going Through the Notions by Kate Price. It was written in 2013. I love it. Now I think you know that I have another not YouTube podcast that I've started. I read with highlighters, and I was kind of surprised because this is just a light reading, what they call a cozy mystery. But this Kate Price, she describes things so well. She'll describe the exterior of the house and the flowers, and then you go inside and you can see that what the type of furnishing it is and the colors. And she does it in it's interesting. It's not like it was blue with a green sofa or something like that. It's very interesting, very descriptive, and I like descriptives. I think I highlight them as I try to learn how to write so that I can learn how to do something like that too. So I was surprised in just like I said, a light reading, cozy mystery that I actually highlighted a lot in it. So that's going to be in a future podcast for my other one is books highlighted. So that's done. We're going to get down to the main subject, and I'm a little bit feisty on this one, I guess. I listened to Tim Pool. He has a Tim Pool that does a Timcast, and he also has Timcast IRL. IRL means in real life. So he does like 3 or 4 segments. I mean, like 4 segments a day. I don't sit and watch videos. I've got things to do. So I do listen to the podcast. And so if he does 4 recordings on his YouTube channel, he also makes them into podcasts. And that's what I listen to. So it's like 4 segments at a time. Well, 2 or 3 weeks ago, he went through some sort of, I don't know what his deal was. He does a lot of the news. Oh, and I forgot. Let me put it this way too. The IRL is he has 4 or 5 other people with him, 3 or 4 other people. Then they sit around talking about the topics of the day and stuff. But this thing he went on a rant a couple weeks ago. It just had me rankled. He watches TikTok, so he's talking about all these women going, I don't understand. I work 40 hours a week, sometimes more. I'm so tired. I can't afford rent. I can't afford food. And I can't even go out and meet with friends. And you know what his answer was? Get married. Get married. Find somebody and get married. And you go, what? So, yeah, instead of women crying that they can't afford the house rent or groceries or whatever, that they need to get married and let the man take care of them, even if they have to marry somebody older than them to achieve that. And that just burned my butt. So, really, in this day and age of what we call the soy boy, and some of you guys might not know what a soy boy is, but if you look at, it's kind of funny because I had mentioned this at church last year or so, and one of the ladies had just moved from California, and I had used the term soy boy, and the ladies in my class go, what are you talking about? I said, it's these people on the East and West Coast that don't eat meat. They don't do manly things. They're vegetarians and eat a lot of tofu and taking a lot of soy, and soy is very high in estrogen, and they get effeminate, not completely effeminate, but a lot. And they are a completely different type of man generally than the men that we have here in Oklahoma and all the flyover states and stuff. And they all looked at this lady who had just come from California. She's nodding her head. She goes, yeah, there's definitely a difference. So if you are live in a city or living on the coast and this is what you've got to choose from as a soy boy who probably still lives in their parents' basements, and maybe if they're not a soy boy, this is a generation that a lot of them, they have been told that life is not worth it. Let's say play video games all day and night and live in our parents' basements. And that generation thinks that work is just too much work. So what's the point? Let me see. Like the diet lacking in meat, consuming more soy products than the actual animal protein has injected men and women with more estrogen, the female hormone that is normally found in healthy men, thus feminizing these men. Just that piece of information, think about it. Think about all of this that we're having trouble with people not even know what their gender is. It could be, and I know, I sound like a conspiracy theorist or something, that there's just too much estrogen in their system and what they're eating is not making them into men. But it makes sense, doesn't it? What's happening in the society. Women who are looking for a partner to go through life with are doing so with a generation that has been instilled in them that the oceans are going to rise and drown us all. The earth is burning up in its orbit from global warming, and then Putin is itching to push the button to blow us all to smithereens. So what's the point of even looking for a wife? And this is backed by 2 years of the government subsidizing people, encouraging them to stay home to slow the spread of a disease. Food delivered to your door means that you almost don't even have to get off the couch to receive your next meal. This has produced an alarming number of fat, pimply people who would rather get off on an image they see on their computer screens than to actually get off the couch to go meet someone. There's no incentive to improve themselves. What's the point? Women truly are looking for somebody to love and care for them, but their options have been greatly diminished. Should they go for the couch potato whose accomplishment is being the best video gamer in the city? Or should they go for the older, balding, chubby, sweaty man that was smelly but has money? Now, how sexy is that? And here's Tim going, that's what you should do. You should get married and have a man take care of you. How many of them are available for the number of women looking for a mate anyway? Maybe in days past, it was possible for women to expect to find a man that would that could and would take care of them. But we all know many instances that even in the past generation, some men were just not the kindly caring partner the woman desired. So what's my biggest problem with Tim Pool's proposition? I felt that he was leaving these women with little options than what I've described. They could either scrape their way through life, never having the money to get by, let alone having something nice, or they could suck it up and marry a nice older man to take care of them. Yuck. Tim never mentions that these women could make up their minds, quit complaining about their plight, and make up something of their own lives without the need of a man to relieve the worry of paying the rent next month. Don't get me wrong, men are important. They need to be retaught that too. We are designed to be together as partners to one another. We are designed to have families together, raise children together, to grow old together. But even if you find that perfect prince, what happens to you and your family if something happens to him? What are you going to do until you find him? Suffer needlessly? No. Women belong in the world just as much as men do. Women need to know that they can take care of themselves, that they don't need men to live a good life. But it's really nice when you do find one. Please don't go through your lives thinking that your only options to living a good life depends on you finding the man to care for you. You are better than that, and you deserve better than that. Don't lower your standards and marry someone that will make you truly happy. No, that will not make you truly happy. Sorry, I can't read. Don't feel like finding a man is the only option you have. Claim your own life. If you find someone to go through it with you, so much the better. But don't give up. There are good men out there. So my question of the day is, do you disagree or do you agree with my assessment? What would you have them do differently? What did this make you feel like? Give me your opinion at theciaellis@gmail.com. All right, that's all I got for here. This is being recorded on Streamyard. I like Streamyard. There's a lot of different things on there that I don't know how to use, and I have to admit, and until I really need it for some reason or other, I'm probably not going to find out. But Streamyard is streamyard.com. This is what I go through for making my podcast. I like it. On this one, I do the video and audio, and for my books highlighted, I only do audio, and it works good for me. So if you ever feel like you want to do a podcast of some sort, and I think there's other things that you can do too, go through my link, streamyard.com, and it's down there below in the show notes, and you can go through it. It doesn't cost you any more. But get your voice out there too. Well, there's a lot of us out there putting some podcasts out there, something special that you find interesting. Do a podcast and go through streamyard.com. I would appreciate if you give me a 5-star review, start sharing some of this with some of your friends. If even if you think my opinion is kind of crazy, that's the way it goes. They can make their own assessment on it. All right. I can be found at grandmashomestead.farm, Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel, Farm Animal Life YouTube channel, Kinsey Lackey Sports YouTube channel, and I'm on Facebook as like Thecia V Dayhoff Ellis, because we were doing Facebook a long time ago. I put my maiden name on it so my classmates could find me a few years ago. But I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, MeWe, Twitter, and Rumble as some version of Thecia Ellis or Thecia E. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I pray that if you're a woman and you're struggling with having struggles finding a man to be in your life, don't give up. Get out there, but make your own life. Make your own life, make your own money, and don't settle. God bless, guys. I'll see you next time.